Welcome to the Deadline Solutions video, Produce Reports. After logging in to WVS, open up Produce Reports by clicking on the button that says Produce Reports. Select a study. We'll use a DSI refrigerator PQ demo study. Click Open. Now we see a graph, a list of study loggers, and the interval details. Let me show you about the graph area. The graph displays the temperature and the humidity trends by clicking on these two buttons. The graph has start and end interval markers that default to the date and times programmed into the loggers with the steps demonstrated in our first video, setting up a WVS study. At that point, we set the study times wide enough to allow us time to set the log tags and give the environment time to settle in. However, in the report, we wouldn't want to show these parts of the trend. We are able to adjust the start and the end points by simply clicking on and dragging the interval markers. As you can see, the trend is automatically rescaled for you. The study was done on a refrigerator that included studying overnight conditions and conditions while opening and closing the door. Looking at the humidity trend, we can see spikes that we can identify as open door conditions. We can add an interval marker here to divide up the study. In the interval names area, we can label our two intervals as overnight and open door test. WVS allows us to group our trends together. This can help us evaluate the data by letting us look at certain aspects of our trends. I'm going to produce a report that shows us the temperature in the center of our freezer. In the area at the bottom left where all the loggers are listed, we click on the Create New Group button and give it a name, let's say Center Study. Now I'll find the center temperature loggers and drag them to the group like this. Then I'll find the humidity logger and do that one as well. Now I can hide the other loggers by unchecking the default checkbox. Now let's change the colors to make the trend stand out a little bit better. All I have to do is right-click on the logger and select a change color like this. Now that I have the graph set up the way I like it, I can click the Next button to start finalizing our reports. On this page, we can choose which reports we'd like to produce. To demonstrate, I'll select each type, but I probably wouldn't need to do this very often. I also get a chance to change the header and the footer as well as a couple other details you'll find useful from time to time. For the purpose of this tutorial, let's just keep it simple with the defaults. Now, click Next. Let me just take a moment to summarize the WVS methodology here. We have some equipment that we want to validate its capabilities or the condition it provided over time. In this case, it's a freezer and a break room, but it could be a pharmaceutical refrigerator, a refrigerated shipping container, a produce stand, a storage room, or any number of things. We determined in advance the rough time frame for our study and programmed all the loggers that we wanted to use. Then we placed them in the freezer and waited for the study to end. Then we collected the log tags and read them into the WVS software. Now WVS has all the data from every log tag from the entire rough time span. WVS allows us to create reports on the data anytime we want. The idea here is we can focus on part of the data set we need now and come back later to look at a different subset of the data as we need it. Okay, so let's get back to the demonstration. You can see here that we have several tabs across the top, one for each of the report types WVS offers: a setup report, a temperature graph, a humidity graph, a summary report, a detail report, and a raw report. For each one of these except for the raw data report, you can choose to print or save it as an Adobe Acrobat PDF file. So the setup report gives you the details of the log tags used and the time span for the study. The temperature graph looks just how we set it up, and of course the humidity graph does as well. The summary report shows us an overview of the data in our report, showing the loggers used in this report, the min-max and the average values, and details for each logger for each interval. The detailed report shows you a numerical table of values. First the values for the loggers, then statistical values, all on a per sample basis. The raw data report gives you the ability to export data from the report into Excel spreadsheets. After you've printed or saved the reports that you've created, you can go back and generate another set of reports on the data, or you can choose to close the Produce Reports window. Thanks for watching this video on how to create a WVS report, the third video in our WVS training series. You can catch other videos in this series from our website at www.deadlinesolutions.com.